Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to 3 Buck Reviews, and this is my review, my what I think of Venom's digital copy. I'm not even too sure what you call it, the digital DVD. I don't even really know, but the digital file. I was gifted a copy of this early from a friend of mine. Had to wait till 2 o'clock in the morning for it to drop. Wanted to check out the special features, and I wanted to provide it in a cool enough way where I could show you guys like the disc when the disc came out and how the menus work and everything. But unfortunately, there is so much damn copy protection on these particular things that this is the best way for me to show you guys any bit of what it looks like without getting my channel entirely caught up in the situation where I could lose it. But that being said, let's take a look here at the Movies Anywhere page for Venom. We see that it comes in at 1 hour 52 minutes, and it's PG-13 at in HD. Just to let you guys know, if you're going to be watching this digitally, watch it on your television or your phone to get actual HD. If you're watching it on Google Chrome, it caps it at 480. This is actually coming in through an Edge browser, which is what put it at 720. Otherwise, it doesn't go any higher on the PC. And I'm assuming that has everything to do with copyright protection. But what we can see here is, first things first, this is the Venom mode. Now, there's no description as to what Venom mode is. So if you don't know so if you're unfamiliar, this is kind of like your trivia mode, right? This is your pseudo behind the scenes look at the film as you're going through it, right? It doesn't tell you what it is. As you're watching the movie, what happens is every once in a while, text pops up on the screen that is kind of hard to read, and tells you a bit about the film, right? Like the same production designer for Spider-Man Homecoming worked on this movie. So to give it a little bit of that visual continuity, that I thought was kind of cool. I didn't really need to know that they used, like, I think it was like 6 Ducati 760s or whatever in the movie. That's what Eddie Brock drives. They also wrecked 12 of those Jeeps in the action scene going through San Francisco. And well, actually, it was kind of cool that they talked a little bit about shooting in San Francisco, also versus shooting in Georgia, which is where they shot the vast majority of the film, but the exteriors was all shot in San Francisco. So they did divide it between the West Coast and the East Coast, which I thought was actually kind of fascinating. But what I find to be really interesting here, and this is just, again, very odd, is that we have the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sneak peek. Now, this is actually at the end of the file, right? So if you saw the movie in theaters, this is like the end credit sequence. They have it here as its own little sequence, but you can also still watch it at the end of the movie. I ended up rewatching Venom again this morning in preparation for this review, found myself actually really liking the movie a lot more a second time, and of course, loved this little bit at the end here. What we got is deleted and extended scenes, which are only 3 of them. There's only 3 deleted or extended scenes. And the thing is, the car alarm scene was funny, but ultimately pointless. You can see why they cut it. Venom in the middle of the day getting pissed at a car alarm and destroying a BMW. That part I liked, destroying a BMW. The ride to the hospital was an interesting one because it's on his way to go see Annie. And he ends up talking with Venom, and the cabbie doesn't know what the hell's going on. The scene kind of works a little bit, but at the same time it was unnecessary for what they were trying to accomplish. The movie isn't missing anything from not having these deleted scenes, either of them, to be fair. But the San Quentin extended, though, is the one that I liked, because this one, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens in the San Quentin scene, right? Cletus Cassidy is there. He says, like, when I get out of here, there will be carnage. And obviously everyone's like, oh, he said it. He said the magic word. But this time around, it's an extended scene by probably about 30 to 45 seconds. It gives Woody Harrelson a bit more to play with. And honestly, they should have left it as it is. They should have at least left a bit about sucking out the eyeballs. And he's like, crunchy on the outside, gooey in the center. It was just crazy enough to be interesting. So I think that would have been good to kind of sell him as more. But then again, this is a PG-13 movie that they're trying to get kids in to check out, or like the young adults. And so like some of the banter in the movie makes sense, but then the banter that's in this movie, not so much. The From Symbiote to Screen is a pretty cool featurette. It's about 20 minutes long, talking about the character of Venom and how he came to get to the big screen, and I guess you could say the hurdles they went through to get there. The antihero here is about Venom as a whole, just kind of what makes Venom Venom, what makes Brock, and how they brought it to life. That was kind of interesting. The Lethal Protector in Action is a featurette all about the oh, what it's like all the stunts, right? All the stunts, how they did the stuff in San Francisco, how they pulled off some of the VFX shots or shots. No, that was in Venom Vision, but it's really how they pulled off a lot of the special effects and how they shot the movie. What I really enjoyed though was like they had a stand-in for Tom Hardy that was 6'7". This guy stood in there and he was a visual eyeline for the other actors. It wasn't just like they were all trying to mime. They actually brought in someone to be the body double for the symbiote to make those scenes look a lot more realistic. And I honestly felt that it worked pretty well. Again, it's a pretty cool little featurette, gives you more behind the scenes stuff. That it just kind of shows you that a lot went into making this movie, even though all those things are like that. The Venom Vision is about Ruben Fleischer and how he kind of came to be on the project, as well as just again getting it made, and all the cast and crew like, oh, Ruben's a great guy. Ruben's a pretty badass dude. Then you had the designing Venom, and this was interesting because this talked a little bit about how they got Venom's design. Well, for one, how his design has changed over the years. Originally, the black suit Spider-Man with the Spider-Man logo on it, to kind of how he became this hulking beast, how he's been drawn at different sizes and different shoulder width and everything else. And then there was the thought about the whole thing involving Venom and the logo. Why doesn't he have the logo? And then that was hinted at in future films. Spider-Man might pop up and there might be a scene where Spider-Man ends up getting the symbiote, and then that ends up going to Eddie Brock, and then that's where the spider comes from. So that's going to be one of those Easter eggs that they put in down the road. This is going to be one of the things, because they're going to inevitably put Peter Parker and Venom into the same movie. I mean, Venom ultimately cost less and made more money than Spider-Man Homecoming. So yes, there are guaranteed going to already be talks about everything else, about all the craziness that's going to go into the next sequels. Then of course what we got here are the Symbiote Secrets. It's a little 2.5-minute featurette just talking about a couple of things in the movie. It was kind of stupid. You've got Scoring Venom here, which is just two little, maybe 30 to 45 second long videos about Drake's theme. So Carlton Drake is the bad guy, Riz Ahmed plays him, and the score that they used for that. And then of course you have Eddie's theme and how that kind of plays out into the other scene. What I find to be really funny about that though is the composer was all like, oh yeah, I know, we shot this in at the Fox lot in LA, and we had a full 40 piece or full band or a full orchestra. We had 40 choir singers, and we got about 80 minutes worth of music. And then what he plays is literally 4 bars. Cool. Cool, man. That's cool. Not really. It was kind of dumb. Then of course you've got the pre-sends, our select scenes, pre-visuals versus our final visuals, which there's about 8 of those there, and they're very short and they're interesting but not super interesting. Come over here to the music videos part, and this is where it's kind of fascinating to me, because you've got Venom by Eminem, which is a catchy enough tune, but at the same time it's really bad music video. It was a really terrible music video. But Sunflower by Post Malone and Swa Lee for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. They put a music video for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse into the home video version of Venom. I can't be the only one that just thinks that's really, really, really weird. But since Into the Spider-Verse doesn't open for a couple more days, it actually gave us a fair amount of looks at new footage that I hadn't seen. The song from Post Malone's pretty good, right? It's a pretty good song, pretty good track. But I found it to be very interesting that they showed a lot of new footage for the movie. And I'm all like, oh, I think there's 2 Gwens. That's just kind of how I take a look at that one. So you can check that one out there. I mean, overall, the movie was a lot of fun the second time around. I had more fun with it the second time around. Looking through the behind the scenes, you learned a lot about how the guys who made the movie had been wanting to make it for quite some time, right? They'd been really wanting to make it for a while. They thought Tom Hardy did a great job. I think Tom Hardy did a great job. One of my favorite little tidbits about that was actually how they did the Venom voice, right? How Eddie Brock reacted to that. So what would happen is Tom Hardy would get to the set in the morning, meet up with the sound guys. He would record his dialogue. He would record Venom's dialogue. Then he would go to hair and makeup. The audio guys would take that. They would clip out the best stuff. They would put it into a file. They would process it. Then they would put an earpiece in Tom Hardy's ear, or anyone else's ear, any actor on there who would also have to react to Eddie and want to know the cue. They could listen, and then they would play Venom's dialogue into their ear. So the way that Tom Hardy described it was that it was kind of like a lot of like a radio play in his ear, which he's also British, so radio plays are huge over there. And I thought that was actually really fascinating in regards to how they shot the movie. There's a lot of interesting factoids that are kind of contained within the symbiote one. The 20-minute featurette's pretty interesting. Kevin Smith makes an appearance as a comic book expert, talking about it and whatnot. And unfortunately, there's no audio commentaries included with this. I would like to actually hear Ruben Fleischer and Tom Hardy talk about the movie. So when it does come out on home video in the next, I think, week, I'll probably end up picking it up just so I can get my hands on that audio commentary, or any other special effects that might be in there, or special features that might be in there. But if you are looking to get your hands on Venom and you're not sure if you want to pick up the digital, there's enough here, I think, to warrant your purchase if you are a fan of the movie and you want to know a little bit behind the scenes. They're kind of sparing on the behind the scenes stuff, but you could spend about a good 45 minutes to an hour just kind of going through it. So again, it's something you may want to check out. But in the meantime, guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you checking out the review of the Venom home video release. And I will talk to you guys later. My name, of course, is Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Reviews. Please thumbs up the video and subscribe, and look for more of these more often. And have yourself a great day, guys, and peace out.